be a bigger problem than we realise. A European research group is calling for more work to be done into research on web addiction and whether tighter regulation is needed for gaming and gambling sites in particular. Well, joining us now, Belinda Parmar, who is a campaigner against tech addiction. Good morning, Belinda. Now, we should just start out by saying that you are someone that has been involved heavily in getting women into technology. So in the main, you think technology is a good thing. But campaigning against tech addiction all started because of your son.
Yeah, I mean, I love technology for all the benefits it gives us in the way we live our lives and the way we enjoy technology. But I have seen a different side of it. I've got teenagers living in my house, and my son has a problematic relationship with technology, as do a lot of his peers, where they're so consumed with it that they fail to engage in daily life. And I think actually, tech addiction is one of the biggest problems of our time, but no one's really solving it or talking about it enough.
Yeah, we talk about it in particular with children, but let's face it, adults can be quite as bad. There is a feature on your phone that tells you how much screen time you've used. I mean, I'm embarrassed when I look at it. It's the mindless scrolling, it's the looking at apps very quickly. How do you know when you've reached the point of addiction?
Well, I think actually being aware as parents, so we run workshops in schools, in inner city London schools with teenagers, and one of the big things they say is the double standard of parents, you know, and I am guilty of this, you know. We all sort of tell our children to get off the iPad when we're on a phone. You know, the double standard exists, and I think part of it is us becoming better role models for our children. But I think the other big part of it, and today is an important day with this new research, is that the technology companies start to take responsibility for designing the games in a way that is so addictive, it's just hard to get off them.
So one of the ideas you'd like to see implemented is age restrictions on apps, a bit like you see on films in the cinema. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd like to see addictive ratings. So in the same way, you know, we didn't know about smoking. In the 50s, if you were stressed, you'd go to a doctor and the doctor would say, oh, you know, calm down and have a cigarette. I think now we just don't know. There's not enough transparency in the industry. And one of the things I would like is an addictive rating for every game, every app. So for example, with Fortnite, we would know that that was highly addictive. And if you've got a child who's a teenager and potentially vulnerable, that possibly isn't the right game for them at that moment in their lives. So I want greater transparency, I want addictiveness ratings, and I want the tech companies to take responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, our tech companies going to take responsibility, because if you look at a game like Fortnite, you've mentioned that there, so many teenagers play it, and they're probably at an age where they know more about using an app than their parents do, and the technology companies are there to make money to get children to play them. I just wonder how in practice that's going to work.
But it has to work. If you look at the revenues of the tech companies, I mean, Apple reached $1 trillion, so did Amazon.
Tech companies will say it's up to parents, though. Take the phones and tablets off your kids, limit screen time.
But there's so much pressure.
These children aren't buying £400 iPads themselves, are they?
There's so much pressure for the teenagers. You know, we're talking about vulnerable. If you look at teen suicide, it's gone up, self-harm. Our teenagers' brains have not been formed. And my point is that the games, the platforms, they fundamentally change the structure of our brains, and they have to take some responsibility. But their sole objective is to keep you on that device. And what I'm campaigning for is that actually we all take responsibility. And the first step to that is understanding the manipulation and the hijacking techniques that go on deliberately to keep us addicted.
Well, Belinda, you make a good argument. Let us know what you think at home, news@sky.com. Ratings for apps and their addictiveness. Let us know, news@sky.com. Belinda Parmar there, campaigner against tech addiction. Lovely to see you this morning. Thank you very much. I'm going to cross over to Jackie now, who's holding an eye.